listening to your recent exploits is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of stress, Andrew,
Yeah.
especially when you're putting down 100 ETH on a Dutch auction mint, which is similar to the format that you guys will be following with your upcoming sale. So
I love
excited to
Dutch
talk to you about
auctions.
everything.
I just feel like you're trying to protect buyers a little bit, you know?
So, what can you talk to us about Dutch? Like, which Dutch auctions have you been in? Because we've been in quite a few. Some are great, some are awful. Which ones do you like?
Well, what's funny is the main exposure I had to a Dutch auction, this is going to date me somewhat. This is way back in the day when Google was pricing its initial shares. Anyone remember this? And they figured out that a Dutch auction was the fairest way to go. They ended up leaving some money on the table, which is one thing I appreciated about it. But ever since then, I've been a fan.
Wait, really? Can you tell us more about that? I didn't know Google did a Dutch auction. I mean,
Again, I'm dating myself.
we did not have access to
This must
such
have been like
investments.
years ago, but Google announced that they were doing a Dutch auction because they wanted to cut out the investment banks, and then the investment banks were like, "It's never going to work. Like, you guys are dumb," and they were like, "No, we'll do it this way." And they did end up leaving some money on the table, and that like the initial trading price was a little bit lower than it was expected, but then it had a pop. And so Google did this primarily to try and cut out the middlemen. So I always appreciated it.
That's incredible. Right? It seems like it really worked out for them.
Yeah, it's funny. It like now is in the dustbins of history because most obviously now they're valued at whatever they are, like a trillion. But when you look at like the original, they had that mechanism to try and make themselves more accessible to the public.
The OG Dutch auctions sound like a good time, Andrew. I think when it comes to NFTs in the space, there are a handful of Dutch auctions that I can name. And in more recent memory, I don't know if you've heard of Pixelmon, but we're sort of living in the post-Pixelmon era. I think we're beyond it. We're past it. But yeah, Dutch auctions are cool in a sense where you do get to see relative to the market's resistance where the current evaluation of your mint is, right? Because you're buying directly from the supplier. What's cool about your Dutch auction specifically is that you actually refund the minter. So if you were to mint at 1.25 on the Dutch, and it went down at 1 ETH, the people that minted at 125 would actually get a refund if it minted out at 1 ETH.
Yeah, that's right. The thinking is that you get what the market settled on, and so if you paid more, bid higher, then you get refunded. So you're assured of the fact that you got the same best price as anyone else, even if you like were a little bit more aggressive.
So that's great. Now, what made you choose a Dutch auction over simply doing a strictly whitelist mint at like a certain price, given that it's possible it goes all the way down and you'll have to refund that? Bringing the gas cost into effect kind of takes away from the wallet of the DAO in the end.
Again, we just wanted to be community friendly and have the price reflect where it settled. We do have a whitelist that I think some of your community members may be a part of, and that's just going to be like a traditional set quantity.
All right, cool. So we've got maybe we could start off right here, Andrew. We've got you on the main stage. We're gonna bring up some more of your team members from GoldenDAO, and I want to give a little introduction on us. So speaking is Mitch and Sean Seinfeld.
Yes, sir.
Over here, we were Metaverse HQ homies. We basically nurtured a friendship online for months, much like the rest of us here. And now, finally, over the past couple of months, we've had a really amazing chance to be able to hang out in person, degen, mint, play the market in person, and have these incredible experiences together. It sounds like GoldenDAO is sort of proposing the same thing, at least in the in real life event capacity. We've also got Jacob Meyer, who's our marketing lead at Metaverse HQ. And if you're unfamiliar, we are a pure degen community. The analysis that we've done on GoldenDAO will come from a pure investor standpoint. We have invested in DAOs before. Mutant Cat DAO represent. And yeah, we're just a community of people that love NFTs. Also, Jacob's in the room. We're all snuggling here together.
What's up, everybody?
Can you confidently say that you're snuggling with your crew, Andrew? Are you jealous?
I can confidently say as much, yes.
Amazing. So yeah, tell us a little bit about GoldenDAO, unless you want to wait for the rest of your co-founders to
No,
come up.
I'm very happy to, and they can chime in. But I'm pumped to be here with you all today. We're doing something that is going to be a massive value add, we think, to the Web3 community, but to your point, also the real life community for people who want to meet each other and get together. And in this case, potentially the entire universe of Asian American Pacific Islanders who want to try to elevate creators, entrepreneurs, builders, activists, artists. The fact that there has not been a Web3 community meant to elevate Asian creators struck us as a massive gap. I'm Asian, you probably noticed, but there are a lot of people in Web3 who are either Asian American, or what we'd call Asian aligned or Asian friendly. I mean, hopefully that's everyone here. I mean, who the heck's not Asian friendly? But we realized that there was a need for a collective that brought people together and enabled us to collaborate and invest collectively in companies and projects, in initiatives, in campaigns, depending upon the will of the community. And the initial feedback has been tremendous. Where we had a meetup in New York City, and it was really, really invigorating. I've been to a lot of parties over the last number of years, but it was an excellent party. Uh, and the goal is to do the same thing in LA this coming week, and then on to Miami. We want to build a very vibrant community that transcends or traverses um, the real world and the metaverse, and there's just so much excitement around it.
So I wanted to ask, what's the plan for GoldenDAO to elevate Asian creators, and why is a DAO necessary to achieve that goal?
So let's imagine that there are thousands of people together as part of GoldenDAO, and then there's a creator who's also part of the community and says, "Hey, here's the project I'm working on, and here are some of the things that we could use." And then there are going to be community members in the DAO who look at it and say, "Oh yeah, like we should propose that. As a matter of fact, I'm for that." And then you'll have a treasury with, we believe, millions of dollars that will then be allocated according to the will of the community in the DAO. You can imagine this becoming commonplace, where we have this whole universe of activities, and we're already starting to see the seeds of that, where a group of people got together in New York City in real life. They just were on the Discord and said, "Hey, who wants to get dim sum in New York's Chinatown?" So I think 12 people showed up. So that's like a very minor, in real life example. But is there going to be a creative who has an awesome idea and then says, "Hey, like I need a designer, I need a coder, I need a marketing person, I need um, uh, some community managers." What's wild is I think that GoldenDAO is going to become a community that itself is replete with different collectives working on various projects.
Okay, that's great to know. So I kind of wanted to follow up on the point of the funding. We kind of did some like back of the napkin math, and at the high end, it would be about $6 million brought into the community wallet. How would you plan to use that wallet? How much of the $6 million goes to the community wallet? And kind of follow up from that, how much will the team be paid, and how is that going to come from the community wallet? Is it going to be people volunteering their time? Are they going to be being paid like a salary or a percentage?
Right now, we're committing a majority of all of the money to the wallet, and then the expenses are going to be paid outside of that. And we expect those expenses to be very significant because we're investing um, in the community building, real life events, in the Signet Ring, which I have a one on my hand right now, and it's a lot of fun. But different ways to invest in the sense that you're joining something that's real, and that convenes every, gosh, I mean, I don't want to say every, every month, but I think that's the rhythm we're looking at right now. So the majority is going to go into the wallet to be determined by how the community wants to invest, and then the expenses are going to be paid outside of that. And then whatever is left over, then we'll be looking at paying community managers. But the wallet isn't going to be used to pay the expenses. It's going to be determined by how the community wants to allocate it.
Cool. Yeah, thank you for breaking that down. I think for those just tuned in, we're speaking with the GoldenDAO today because we had a hilarious meeting, and I'll tell you why it's hilarious, Andrew. We had an awesome meeting with your team, and it was funny because we had thought we were going to be at a meeting with Andrew Wang, and trust me, when you showed up in the Google Meet, I was much more excited. I mean, I was basically geeking. I'm a Yang gang myself. I'm trying to take that perspective out of it for now, but I do want to return back to the fact that you are one of the co-founders of this project alongside two others, and give some details right away for everyone listening in. You guys do have your public sale. It's coming up actually next week, right? So I believe within the next 3 days, you'll be having your sale. It's going to be a Dutchie, good old fashioned Dutchie. We love to see it. World of Women just had one. Really fun time. It's going to start at 1.28 ETH. It's going to go all the way down to 0.88 with a mint total of 888. And then there will be a pre-sale. If you are on this pre-sale list, you will be able to mint a GoldenDAO NFT for 0.8 this week. And as far as Metaverse HQ members are concerned, we do have 111 to give away to you, to our lucky members. So want to make that clear. These are the logistics. This is how we like to break down the drops. We would consider, your project an investment, right? Like when we talk about NFTs, when we talk about minting something, obviously the idea is when you buy into a project, when you buy into a vision, when you invest in a DAO to be a part of it, you'd like to see return on investment, right? So can you talk to us more about what does the return on investment look like from your end? If I were coming from an investor's perspective, what ROI gets you most excited about GoldenDAO, and what is the timeline for that return on investment?
Oh, thank you. So imagine you're being able to mint membership in a collective of, let's say, round numbers, a couple thousand of the most enterprising, innovative, creative, pro-social builders and creatives on Web3, and they get together in real life. They'll come to your city, or you'll just go to Miami or wherever the next one is. It's going to be, to me, something that people want to be a part of, and we're seeing this right now. We kicked this off, and maybe a week ago. I'm losing track of the days. So if you get in initially, then I believe that the public sale later in the week is going to quickly value it at, somewhere in that Dutch range that you described. Let's call it, for the sake of argument, like 1.1 ETH. But then I want you to imagine what that's going to look like from the outside looking in, where you're like, okay, wait a minute. There's this collective. Uh, there are all these people that I know and respect and admire who are part of it. They're getting together for private events around the country, the world. They're getting around. They're going. They're convening in private AMAs. And then you look up and say, "Wait a minute! There's actually a chance I can join this collective." And if you do join, then as long as we're able to establish that we're adding value, I think that I'm going to give you guys an example of something that's kind of funny, which is like I was um, trying to go from point A to point B, and then someone like gave me a ride on their plane. Honestly, it was a private plane. And then I felt myself to be like, okay, like I feel a little self conscious because that they're saving me some time, but there's like money involved. And so I thought to myself, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try and generate the amount of money that they're spending on me on this flight for them on the basis of the time we're going to have together. We're like on this plane together for 3 hours. Like, let me see if I can do that. And so I set myself to trying to figure out, can I generate that much value for this person like in the time I have? And I'm happy to say, I think I did it. So I think that's going to be the dynamic of this DAO, where if you buy into GoldenDAO, then your membership is going to end up a little bit like the community you all have built here with Metaverse HQ, where people, invested to be part of the community, but they feel like their investment's paying off many times over, both in terms of the inside track they get and the guidance and the community aspect. We believe that someone's going to see a positive return on the pre-mint essentially immediately. And then I think on this initial mint, probably also immediately. Really, the challenge for us is going to be, can we continue to build value uh, in a judicious way that makes it so that people still feel like they're getting something special by buying in.
Yeah, I want to talk about the buying in aspect, particularly, under the guise that, let's just say, for instance, this weren't to sell out, right? The public sale sits at the Dutch auction and the 888 doesn't sell out. Will you guys have any plans for outside funding? Are there any plans to make GoldenDAO businessable, generate revenue in other ways, and sustain its mission?
Well, that's a great question. I love it. So first, I have every expectation that the pre-mint is going to sell out quite quickly based upon everything we're seeing. I am a numbers guy, and so I tend to trust those numbers more than anything else. And we think the same is going to be true for this initial public sale, which we kept at what we think is a very manageable 888. But to your point, the guys who have started GoldenDAO, me, and then you can check them out, Jack Liang and Theo Liu. Jack and Theo are really talented serial entrepreneurs who have invested everything in GoldenDAO. GoldenDAO is going to become a significant organization, collective, enterprise, incubator, fund, you name it. Because one of them, and they can speak for themselves here, but one left Google to invest all of their time in GoldenDAO. The other one left a startup after running teams at Instagram to make GoldenDAO a success. And I think people know what I'm about. GoldenDAO is going to become a really significant, awesome organization, and we're all committed to that. The dynamics of this sale are one thing, but if for some reason I can't foresee that these sales don't end up reaching expectations, we're going to build a quality organization that can drive value in multiple ways.
Awesome. Yeah, we appreciate the reassurance. I think a lot of like star power comes into these upcoming launches, and nothing is guaranteed, right? Like nothing really is guaranteed. You don't know if a project is going to be able to mint out, and that's a lot of what our job is, especially like me, Jacob, and Meg's job is to find out you know which of our partners will actually like succeed and with their mint based on the date, based on the organic reach, the engagement they're seeing on Discord, and if we don't see that, then we're like the first ones to tell them. So yeah, I appreciate you giving us some sense of clarity as to like what happens if what does the plan B look like. And I'm glad you brought up the other core founders, Jack and Theo. Can you tell us more about how the three of you came together? I think that's a really like interesting perspective to have, especially since it just seems like those two, like Jack and Theo, have much different backgrounds than you do. I'm just curious, like, did y'all meet in a room and it was like, wait, we all have the same vision and we should do this now?
Yeah, and I'd love you to tonight, Jack, and bring him up so he can speak for himself. I think I saw him somewhere in like the listener. There he is. He's a listener. Jack, come on up here while I sing your praises. But I first met Jack when he was running an anti-Asian hate rally in New York City that drew thousands of people. And he did that because he knew the community was hurting, and he thought that it was something he could add value to. At one of his rallies, Rihanna came. He became the go-to organizer for anti-Asian hate rallies. I met him on the streets of New York during that time, and it was weeks and months later that Jack, Theo, and I were talking, and we were talking about what we could do, because we're action-oriented people, we want to solve the problem. And despite the massive rallies that Jack held, we know that that didn't address hate. You know that there are still problems out there. So that's how GoldenDAO, what was originally conceived, is like, what if you got together a group of really supercharged builders and creators and activists who wanted to do something elevating. So Jack, would love for you to tell your own story as to how you came to GoldenDAO.
Yeah, so yeah, basically what Andrew was saying is during, I guess, last year when attacks were happening on our people, and I guess specifically a man was stabbed in Chinatown at 5 p.m., like a 35-year-old man, across the street from a park that I used to play at. And, I'm at this point working at Instagram and living in the Bay Area, and eventually moved to LA and felt like, I've kind of escaped this, even though I'm from New York City. So I went back to New York to do something, even though I didn't know what it was. And for me, that was like, let me bring thousands of people to a park, rally them, and shift them from a state of fear to a state of power, to a state of being seen, and to a state of just belonging. And it just ended up having 10,000 people come to this park. Andrew showed up, and it was just electrifying. And from there, it was like nonstop people requesting my time, my energy, and I think Andrew felt very similar that a lot of people was requesting his time and energy to kind of fight this war and against hate. And for like 6 to 8 months, we were organizing, we were rallying, we were speaking at schools and companies, and it just was exhausting doing it isolated. And we didn't feel like a nonprofit organization was the right fit for someone like Andrew and myself. And we started seeing these DAOs show up. Specifically, FWB was very inspirational to us, and we're like, wow, there's ways to incentivize community and bring people together. And Andrew and myself don't have to do all the heavy lifting. We can have kind of like a family behind us, not just a team. And so we decided to do this DAO and create something innovative. And we really believe that something like this should have existed in the past. And it just turns out we're like the first one to do a AAPI empowerment DAO. And I think we're creating a blueprint for other social impact and nonprofit organizations to come on to Web3.
So, just looking at the pedigree of the founders, obviously impressive, and it seems like as a team, one of your biggest strengths is being able to mobilize heavy hitters in Web 2. What are your plans to bring in those heavy hitters and help kind of galvanize them against this very important cause?
Into Web3, into the DAO format. This should be really interesting. Can you tell us more about that?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. We see ourselves as a bridge because there are a lot of people who still are figuring out how they're going to play in Web3, how they're going to be investing their time and energy. And a lot of people, frankly, I think noticed that I've come into the space. I'm getting calls from people asking me, like, "Hey, Andrew, like, how do we help? How do we get involved?" And we think we can activate heavy hitters in Web 2 who want to be a part of this kind of cause or this sort of initiative and organization. And we think there's going to be a ton of value behind that. Like if GoldenDAO reaches out to you and you're new to Web3, then you'll say, "Oh, this is a perfect opportunity for me." And I've had those conversations. I've had maybe half a dozen of those conversations with people saying, "Look, I still don't fully understand, but I want to come to your next event but I want you to have someone be a concierge and help onboard me. And so we can reach out to a lot of people. I think one thing that I think people probably have a sense, but uh, it's kind of ridiculous, like who I've gotten to know and who I've become friends with over the last several years. Like a lot of people really like want a warm intro into Web3 that we can provide.
That's great to hear. It's really like almost heartwarming to hear that people such as yourself want to help onboard heavy hitters. Because right now the biggest thing we have is like MoonPay onboarding celebrities to buy apes. We don't really have any kind of a figurehead like you to be able.
Mission.
Yeah, exactly.
Vision.
Bring in people that are just like the whales in Web2 to come in and help change this space for the better.
I'll give you a random example of a guy who has asked me about this. Is Dave Chappelle, who, by the way, people may or may not know this. His wife is Asian. He endorsed my presidential campaign, and he and I were talking about this, and he was like, "Man, I don't know. Like, he has some friends who are in it, but he's like, I don't know how to be involved." And I was like, "Well, like Dave, there are any number of ways." That's one of the folks that you might not think of as necessarily GoldenDAO aligned, but actually surprisingly is.
Yeah, I'm personally a big fan of Dave Chappelle. I did not know that he was involved with GoldenDAO, and I think that was sort of what we're trying to do here is get you to spill some tea, share some alpha here, right? So we've been hearing some really interesting things through the grapevine as far as who you guys plan on bringing on board, attaching the brand to, sort of some corporations that you're in partnership talks with. And I think what Sean was sort of referring to was, again, this whole Web 2 bridge into Web 3 through a shared vision and goal of aligned with, AAPI and what their best interests might mean. Does that mean that the GoldenDAO's best interests are like distinguished in parallel, or are they distinguished, or are they in parallel with that of AAPI?
They're very much in parallel. I mean, it's going to depend upon the will of the community members, but I dare say that everyone I've spoken to who's joining GoldenDAO is super excited about being activated around uh, issues or opportunities that affect the AAPI community. There are also people that are tired of shouting into the wind and being negative and just want to do stuff. You know what I mean? Like whether it's come together, build, create, elevate, invest. I think that's really baked into the ethos of both Web3 and the APIs generally. Is that we like to actually be proactive, have measurements, be results oriented, and so that's the kind of community I think is coming together very quickly.
So I gotta ask because the GoldenDAO's vision to sort of enhance and work in parallel with AAPI is a righteous one. It's one that I'm sure a lot of people would like to get behind and get involved, right? More than the intended 2,000 or a couple of thousand mints, right, to be involved with the GoldenDAO. The price point, the entrance point in and of itself is, could be almost $3,000 though, right? So we effectively price out a ton of individuals, whether they be Asian or not, in participating in the GoldenDAO. How can we ensure, or how can the GoldenDAO ensure that we are sort of listening to the non-holders, if you will, or is it just simply power to the holders, and whatever we decide as a group?
Oh, so we're committed to both the pre-mint and then this first release. But there are already, as you know, thousands of people in the Discord, and it's growing all the time. We want this to be inclusive and accessible. I mean, I guess you can imagine it's kind of baked into the nature of the community we're trying to build. Number one is, so right now it is going to be the members of the DAO that actually make investment decisions and that sort of thing. But if you are someone who's part of the community on Twitter or in Discord, you can easily be like, hey guys, like here's this great project, or here's this terrible thing that happened. We should do something about it. And one of the next steps for the DAO is to have an offering that sets up essentially another tier of membership that allows people to participate at much less than the current, let's say, roughly $3,000 or whatever it is. So we want to build a thriving collective that has different ways to participate. That we, I think people understand instinctively. It's like, look, if we want to do big things, then having people invest at a certain level makes sense to develop a certain level of resources. But we want to take subsequent steps that make it so that people can be a part of the DAO at different levels.
So to kind of follow up on that and get more into the minutia of the DAO itself, how will DAO proposal process work? How often will proposal be made? How will members make votes? Are votes only exclusive to mint holders, or as you said, kind of expanding on it, is it possible that we have members outside of mint holders make votes?
Well, so initially it's mint holders exclusively. In terms of the timing, we're going to be building in something pretty frequent because we want this to be very dynamic and alive. We want it to be real time. So you can imagine a mechanism where we're very, very responsive to what it is that a critical mass of community members want. If we do wind up with a couple of tiers, then people will be able to participate, but there would likely be different voting power or levels of input for some of the original mint holders versus some of the secondary tokens that might have been priced lower.
Got it. Can you talk about the actual process as a member to vote? Will you guys be using Snapshot? Can you talk about the how the proposal will be made, and in turn, what the voting process will look like specifically?
Hey, Jack, I'll pass that one to you.
Yeah, we'll be using Snapshot. Obviously, in the beginning, it's there's different phases to this, right? It's obviously launching our website, launching the NFT project, and then it's thinking about DAO infrastructure. That's phase two. Of course, we do have our launch party on Thursday. So after all of this is over, is when we'll really sit down at the table, consider all things DAO infra, and then get the right people on the table, like yourself, and kind of just decide on the best way to construct this DAO.
Gotcha. So this is sort of like a dynamic approach to building and creating the DAO. You have a general sense of how you would like to spin it up, but as far as the minutia of it, waiting until launch date, that makes sense. I guess the question here is, with the DAO's vision, if it's directly aligned and in parallel with AAPI, can you talk a little bit about the unique value proposition of investing in the GoldenDAO as opposed to just simply donating to the AAPI?
Yeah, the hope is that this becomes a massive value generating engine. No, I have friends who run traditional nonprofit organizations, and I love them dearly. And they should get more resources for their work. But the GoldenDAO, we think, can be a bridge towards different approaches and solutions, different projects and investments. We want there to be something that where
Are you guys listening
it's
to this
not
GoldenDAO thing?
it's not zero sum. It's not like, oh, I gave
Yeah, I'm
this to you
listening.
and
It's
then it
cool.
gets spent and like I feel good, but then maybe the problem lives on. Like we want to be able to make it so that if you get the right people together, they can do something really impactful, and sometimes do something that's very, very remunerative. Do something that ends up enriching people either experientially or monetarily. And part of this, the fun of this collective, is that it's going to be driven by the motivations of the members. Now there are going to be people who are part of this collective who just want to build businesses, and I think that's tremendous. Like, I've built businesses, I love building businesses. There are going to be people who are part of this collective who are going to be trying to elevate activists and causes. I love that too. I love campaigns. So if you want to be part of something that's going to have its efficacy determined by the best and brightest folks who are passionate about um, this cause, then Golden DAO is going to be a home for you. And I know so many people who resemble this. Like there's such an appetite for this because so many people, either Asian or otherwise, are just fed up with the fact that like you have these issues that are getting worse, not better, and you want to do something about it that's concrete and value creating, and maybe even sometimes that's positive and fun.
Gotcha. I'm curious, Andrew, is there like a safeguard to the DAO, right? Because there are X amount of votes, and assuming every single NFT holder gets one vote, then there could be a potential possibility where you had like the 51% attack. A majority of votes are owned by maybe an entity, a single entity of individuals, or one individual that might not have the DAO's best interest at heart. How do you protect against that? I'm seeing Sneaky, our boy Sneaky in the audience. What if Sneaky went and minted 888 of your public sale and totally cooked it? How would you guys, I guess, handle that sort of situation?
Well, we're not allowing for that. I think the maximum quantity one can get is 2. Though Sneaky does sound pretty sneaky. But the nature of the folks that I already know, like who are part of GoldenDAO, and many of whom I don't know, I'm just getting to know. But it's not something that I see as like, it's not keeping me up at night. Let's put it that way. Do we have safeguards and mechanisms put in place to prevent certain things? That's something we're looking at. But I have so many friends, frankly, who are part of this community who've like come running and been like, "Thank God someone's building this. Like, I want in. I can only buy 2. That sucks." That, like, I just can't imagine someone being able to move the DAO in an unproductive direction based upon who I know that's already a part of it.
Got you. Did you hear that, Sneaky? Good luck.
Good luck cooking, bro.
Yeah, he's like challenge accepted. No, I think it's a very
challenge accepted. That's
I think the wallet max is a good move. I think you've seen it, do extraordinarily well with increasing the percentage of unique holders. That's a really important metric that we look at when evaluating projects. And there are projects that have released that when they enact some sort of like wallet maximum, then you do see a good bit of fairness there. I want to talk about the sort of the elephant in the room, Andrew, because we've been here for like over a year in the NFT space. We've seen basically everything you possibly could see. We've minted every rug under the sun. We have don't bring up Pixelbugs. We've cooked every single drop that you possibly could imagine. And what's been really consistent, and unfortunately, has been it's just the one main consistent, is that celebrities, when they come into the space, they use their influence in a way that's incredibly exploitative. If I can give some more specific examples, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis' Stoner Cats was an absolute cash grab at 0.32 per mint. You had more recently Takeoff from the Migos with Apes in Space, who quite literally took off with our ETH. We did have De'Aaron Fox do that Swipe at a Fox NFT collection. And, I could go on and on and on. And I hope the feds catch up to them. What is your, like, how can we NFT degens who have been hurt so bad, we're jaded like Drake from Take Care, how can we be reassured that you are here to stay, Andrew, that you are the one in the Discord making these messages and you're here for the long haul? How can you ensure us that?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. So first, I'm gonna be Asian for a while. I guess the first thing I'd say, is that like that this doesn't stop being a part of my life at any point in the future. The second thing I'm going to say that does distinguish me somewhat from an actor or an NBA player is that I'm able to do what I do because people believe in me and trust me. I will not risk uh, my reputation on something that is not going to work. If something in my line of work, if something doesn't work, I fucking make it work. because there is no not working in my line of work. You know what I mean? I have big goals for advancing the human condition. I'm still fighting for it every day. I see it. There is a path. I motivated hundreds of thousands, millions of people to get on board with a presidential campaign that no one saw coming. GoldenDAO will be a thriving organization one way or another because there is no choice in the matter. Like, I talked about, Theo and Jack dedicating their lives and careers to this, which they are. But the reason why you all know who I am is because like you think that I'm like a genuine sort who's not going to disappear, who's not going to leave other people holding the bag. And I would never do that. Like we're going to build something awesome. People who get in are going to have great experiences and, in my opinion, are going to enjoy benefits both directly and psychically and financially. And that's what I'm here for. Like, we're going to build something awesome, and I'm here for the long term.
That's it's really reassuring to hear that coming from you, given that like this space moves so quickly. It's always a concern that something new and shiny comes along that might take someone like yours attention away from the current project. So it's nice to hear that you're kind of like staking your reputation on it and making it almost your life's mission, or like a culmination of everything you've been doing up until now.
Well, part of it too is that, let's fast forward and say that there's I'm going to say it directly. Like, let's say there's another political campaign. Let's say that there's some like other project. Do you not think that having an awesome uh, family of Web3 builders and creators would not be like super helpful, like in that regard? Like, even if I was just purely self-interested, I would make sure that GoldenDAO is a awesome success, because that just helps everything I want to do, which, by the way, is true. I mean, that's an accurate statement.
I love that. Yeah, the fact that everyone's interests are aligned means it's just going to rocket from there, which is it's great to hear as someone, as people who are like thinking about investing in this and helping bring it along to meet your vision.
Yeah, and one thing I'd like to add too, Andrew, is that you've been really consistent with your vocality and your sort of value proposition with everything that you do, right? And you have been a presidential candidate, you've been a New York mayoral candidate. I'm actually also based out of New York, and time again you come back, with the same consistent message, and you're here to stay. So that gives me conviction that perhaps we won't get rugged by a celebrity that I love. But at the same time, too, I do definitely want to be mindful and just communicate with you that a lot of us, especially the ones that will be minting and sort of investing in the project, right? Like, we are still very early in NFTs. And so a lot of the potential minters will be NFT degenerates, will be people, maybe either people that may have bought an ETH for the first time in the last couple of months, but still, I think a majority will be us, because that's quite a hefty price point to ask of like any average consumer. And I'd only hope that you'd be mindful that a lot of us, we engage not just in real life, but a lot of us really heavily engage on Discord. So I'm really excited for a nice, thriving Discord community of the GoldenDAO.
I love it. We wouldn't have it any other way. And I mean, we love input, we love feedback. I'm of a line of work where we're meant to serve people who decide to join a community or back us in a way, and this is going to be very much the same way. We'll be answering to you, really.
That's great to hear. I did want to wrap it up soon for questions, but I did want to ask one last question, something a little more lighthearted. What is something, in addition to helping the AAPI community, what is something you're looking forward to with GoldenDAO? Something that maybe you might have envisioned in the back of your mind that might not be kind of the first goal for it, but something you might hope might come out of it, like a beautiful flower growing out of the dirt.
I'm going to describe an experience I had in Denver at ETH Denver. And it wasn't even my experience. It was two guys who I knew each other from the NFT space, who were meeting from the first time on the street outside of a bar. and they greeted each other like old friends, which maybe they were old friends, but they were like, I hadn't seen you in person ever, I suppose. And I want people to have that experience through GoldenDAO, where they get together and they meet people that they might even have worked with many times, but they have a drink with them and party with them and build that connection. Because like I saw that connection get compounded in that moment between those two people, and it was awesome. And, it was something I'd seen in other environments and settings. One thing I will share with you all, it's a point of pride. I'm personally responsible for 10 weddings that I know of. And what do I mean by that? I mean, like 4 staffers on my presidential campaign have married each other. That I started a nonprofit, and like my lieutenant, like, and his subordinate got married. Don't tell. But like I really enjoy seeing people come together, and I have a penchant for creating organizations or environments where like-minded people come together and build special relationships. Sometimes even a lifelong relationship that starts a new family. So that's what I'm super excited about with GoldenDAO. That's going to happen in real life. I'm going to see it happen dozens, maybe hundreds of times. I probably won't know if people decide to get engaged unless they tell me. But that is something I'm really looking forward to. That is going to come to pass starting this week.
All right. Yeah, really appreciate you breaking that down. And do want to be respectful of your time as well as the teams here. And Calista, by the way, I did see you come in. Love your Azuki, by the way. Red Bean Gang for life. Beautiful.
Thank you so much. So excited for the meetup.
I know, same. Did you mint that, by the way?
I didn't. I picked it up. So I had to pay the hefty price, and it wasn't a floor Azuki. Let me just tell you.
Trust me, yeah, we shop Azuki on the daily. We're always window shopping, so we do have a good eye for these things. And I also did not scoop mine up during mint, so I feel you there. But again, nonetheless, happy to see a DGen, a fellow Web3 DGen on the team. We are incredibly bullish when there are NFT DGens on teams, Andrew, specifically because we have the consumer mindset, and we sort of have a sense of what we're looking for in projects. So when there is a DGen on the team, that can sort of advise at that capacity, it helps the utility, the value proposition for an NFT collection be a little bit more well-rounded. I want to start getting some questions out the door. We've got Jay, sir, welcome. Happy what day is it today? Happy Sunday.
Yes. I actually tried to explain the DAO I work on to Andrew, I think, when I met him in Atlanta, but it's too complicated, but basically with the DAO I work on, it's basically a plan to legalize cannabis and psychedelics. And like what Andrew's talking about with events and stuff, we do that here in Chattanooga, and it's going very well. We've revitalized the entire nightclub scene after the lockdown. Like I've raised, like, I don't know how much I've raised, but they've given me all the credit.
Congrats, Jay. Good times, man. I'm sorry that when you tried explaining it to me, like when in one ear out the other. I think I was in the middle of a campaign, though, in my defense.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I told you we're working on good things in Chattanooga. That's what I meant.
Oh well, congrats, man. I got to get to Chattanooga.
Dude, come on our bus, dude. We'd love to have you on our podcast, dude. We're doing this thing with physical crypto tokens with the local bars here, clubs here.
I love it. That's fun. And
it works with like NFC, like near field connection technology.
That seems both safe and non-exploitable by any means. Jay, thanks for coming on in. Definitely link with
definitely DM me, Andrew. I'll tell you all about it. It's an amazing program we're doing, and we're working with cancer patients,
Congrats, Jay. I just followed you, man. I'd love to find out more. Congrats, man.
Yeah, and we're an autistic run business too.
Oh well, that's near and dear to my heart. Having a child that's autistic.
I know you hugged my mom. That meant a lot to her.
Oh, that's so sweet. You should hug your mom for me.
I will.
Because my wife Evelyn is the mom of an autistic boy, and so I just think of
I love Evelyn.
What mothers do every day.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I'm gonna let whoever else wants to speak. About to say that we also have a plan to legalize psilocybin with a hiking program, and we got like a martial arts program, all kinds of creative wellness stuff.
I know some very high level investors who are investing in psilocybin mushroom companies. They swear by the results. I think there are some big studies that are coming out that back up some of the things that people experience. So I think you're onto something.
Yeah, see, this is a research permit thing. Like, I don't know all about it. My boss does. It's technically not my boss because it's a DAO, but the guy who founded it,
Yeah, know what you mean. Thanks, Jay. Great seeing you.
Oh yeah, and nitrous oxide too.
Oh boy. Well, I think we cut the line at Whippets, but we've got another Jay here to share his thoughts with you, Andrew, and team. You want to go up, Mr. Fryer? Happy Sunday.
Yeah, hello. How you
Hey,
guys
Jay.
doing? Good. It's another Jay here, and I have another question too. A little bit different from the previous Jay. So I am working on a 100% charity project where I will probably make like derivatives with well-known artists of the apes that I own, and some friends own, and I'm thinking 50% will go to the AAPI and try to do some good, and the rest I want to have a Asian focus kind of initiative to invest back in our community. So I was wondering, for the GoldenDAO, because there's a lot of Asian Americans, are there initiatives overseas for the things that you guys are trying to do and change? If so, definitely want to see if we can contribute. If it's domestic, what are some key initiatives that's focused on Asian Americans that maybe part of our profit that we can contribute back into your ecosystem and help all of us.
Hey, Jay, congratulations. That's awesome. First, there are going to be people and organizations and entrepreneurs that are involved that are very much international. We know how global Web3 is. We also know how global the Asians involved with Web3 are. They're everywhere. As one example, I think we have Irene of IreneDAO coming in to LA from Singapore this coming week. So we're very much global in intent. So if you want to invest in a global project, we'll be there to help. In terms of some of the things that are happening domestically, I mean there are a lot of organizations that are trying to do more for victims of anti-Asian hate, whether that's direct contributions to families, whether it's educational resources, whether it's campaigns to get laws enforced and activated in different ways. So that there are a lot of organizations that are getting activated around different approaches. Would certainly love your help and involvement with whatever you feel most animated by.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm also in LA right now for the NFT LA.
Are you gonna come by Thursday? It's gonna be me, Irene, you, and a bunch of other amazing people. Callista, are you coming? I hope you're gonna be there.
Oh yeah, I'm there.
All right, good. Callista will be there. So yeah, come on by, Jay.
Yeah, because I think some of the things I see right now is, to be honest, some of us are kind of early in Web3, and we were able to benefit from good projects and communities, and I feel very blessed. But it's time for us to contribute back into the ecosystem. I see a lot of derivatives projects and projects spanning from communities are all kind of doing things for profit. But I know something like Sneaky Ninja Pants is doing. Me myself and a couple other buddies that's like working closely with the UN on carbon related initiatives. I think they can have more of those products and projects that kind of can show that we can bring good back to the society and to our communities as well.
Hey, Jay, this is what I'm passionate about, is trying to make a difference in the real world for people that frankly might never have heard of crypto or Web3 or any of these projects. So I think GoldenDAO is going to help do that. There are going to be people who still have never heard of NFTs who are going to end up being beneficiaries in different ways. So that's what I think the next step is, really. And I know metaverse and everyone's like, like that, like you kind of joke about it. But like genuinely, people can do well and do good. People can do positive things uh, and realize a lot of value for themselves. Like the two things go hand in hand. I said to someone else, like helping you helps me. And that's true of a lot of very, very powerful networks and communities. Like you all, I don't know if you all have seen that. I mean, I'm sure you have and experienced it in different ways. This is something too, I will say, is one reason why I want GoldenDAO to be involved in just like straight up businesses and profit making enterprises, is because that brings people together too. You know what I mean? Like if you build a business with someone, or you make someone money, like as an investment, you're connected for life. It's really kind of funny, but that's the way we operate. So we need to do both of these things together on a grander scale, because there's so much energy in Web3 that can solve a lot of problems in the real world.
Really agree with that. Yeah, I personally believe that doing good to community as well as making money doesn't contradict each other. There's got to be a balance, either regarding ESG related initiatives or how we run our business. I mean, I was a strategy consultant before, kind of leaning more toward this crypto side. So I'm definitely very interested to learn more about Golden DAO and see if there's some things that I can contribute my expertise and knowledge and to help with this overall initiative. So we'll definitely shoot you a DM and link up this Thursday.
All right, Jay, we'll see you on Thursday. Do it. But yeah, that has to be the next step. We have to do well and do good and excite and energize people about both.
Cheers.
All right, thanks for the question, Jay. And I think I might have been made even more bullish by that sentiment as well, especially um, coming from a community where our shared vision and goal is to help one another understand the market and be the best NFT investors, traders that we possibly can be. We do have that shared vision, and that's, we are stronger with that sense of wanting to be valuable to each other. And yeah, I do believe too, and agree with Jay, that there is a fine balance between wanting to, rip value out of the market as opposed to understand it and be shared in that combined vision. And again, too, if you're able to make people, if you're able to be of value to an individual, and that value is in the form of, finance or monetary, then yeah, that is a friendship that you'll want to continue to entertain. So again, there's definitely a fine balance there. I want to start bringing up more individuals. Twitter is properly rugging us right now, so we're trying to bring up the handful, the myriad that have requested. So
Hey, it's Melody Hom. Hey, Melody, how are you? Sorry, I just randomly saw you there.
Oh, Mel's here. Hi, Mel.
hey, Mel.
It's been too long.
Sorry.
Melody
Mary.
interviewed me when I was running for president. It's been too long, Mel.
All right. I don't know where Mel is, but we've got Mary.
Oh, hi.
Hello, Mary. Can you hear us?
Yeah, hi. I'm just dropping
Hi.
in, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for launching this project. My friend and I recently hosted a self-defense class for the Asian American community in New York City, and we were only able to do that after we got a grant of $8,000. So I think it's great that there's a community now that will fundraise for these grassroots organized projects in different communities.
Hell yeah, that would be something you can very easily see someone submitting to GoldenDAO and then that getting approved pretty quick. I mean, it's terrible that so many people are showing up to those classes because there's so much fear. So thank you, Mary, for making that happen for people that really wanted and needed it.
Yeah, and thank you all for all your hard work.
Yeah, for those of you who are outside New York City, there's just a lot of fear on the streets of New York. Unfortunately, it's really tragic and terrible.
Yeah, I can concur as an Asian in New York. The headlines tend to be quite fear-inducing, for sure. So, Mary, did you say you host classes for self-defense in New York?
We hosted one weekend of classes. So the stipend we received from the State Department was over the course of 6 months. So we put on a weekend of courses in self-defense. It did take a long time for us to get the grant money. So something like this certainly accelerates the grant process.
That's actually a really good point. You do have an expedited approach to funding through going to a DAO. Are there any ones in particular, Mary, that also look intriguing aside from GoldenDAO, or is this like one of the first that fit a place where you can actually make a proposal for a grant that was way too slow to be granted in the state of New York?
I mean, I'd certainly say all the nonprofit related ones, right? Like, I've just seen nonprofit like grant competitions take place over the course of like 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year sometimes.
Too long, too slow. Boo. I mean, people are doing it, but we can speed that up.
Yeah, that's way too slow for Web3. Thank you for sharing, Mary. I'd love to learn more about what you're doing in New York. If I can get involved, I'm going to give you a follow from my account. And we've got Aslo, Metaverse HQ member, OG. What's going on, brother?
Hey guys, how's it going? Andrew, thanks so much. Not just for coming on, but I appreciate, as long as I've known you and been following, how open you are to embracing new ideas, new technologies, and being open-minded. It's really cool. And my question, where I'm curious to hear what you think, how you think DAOs are going to have a place within the political world moving forward. And I'm a little bit also curious about what your original reaction was when you heard about DAOs, whether you thought it was crazy or reasonable or somewhere in between, exciting, but just where you think it's going to fit within the political world. I'm curious to hear where you think that's going.
Thank you, Aslo. I appreciate it so much. So when I first heard about a DAO, I thought to myself, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's like, yeah, that should totally exist. You could have collective action gets organized in a particular way. At the high end, it could be the future of democracy, liquid democracy, groups making decisions more quickly and effectively in a genuinely representative way. And so I was super interested in them immediately, in part because I've been highly exposed to how inefficient and ineffective a lot of our existing bureaucracies are, particularly where the government's concerned. It's why a lot of people are dubious about whether the government can deliver. Now, in reality, we all know that DAOs have not exactly all been like models of decentralized governance, and I liken it to our projects in college, where there was a group, but then a couple people did all the work, and then there were some free riders, there was some this, there's some that, and so that's true not just of DAOs but of like human nature generally. I would say, we've all been parts of groups, and I will speak for myself personally. I've both been the person who did all the work, and I've also been the free rider. Like both, like you could be like both of those people in different settings. So DAOs have yet to demonstrate themselves as immune from human nature, I would say. But I think that ideally you have to have different models of governance and collective decision making in order to build an example of what our governments could be. So, a big picture, I'm very, very concerned about the state of democracy and whether our government will be able to rise to the challenges of our time. And you all know I ran for president because I was like, hey, maybe I can do something to change that or speed things up. But simultaneously, like I want to build the better the better model. And I think DAOs have a chance to be that. So I'm super excited, not just for GoldenDAO, but to see whether we can build something that can demonstrate to folks that look, like we don't necessarily need to do things the same old way or expect bureaucracy from the 1960s to solve our problems.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it, Andrew.
Thanks, Oslo. Appreciate you.
Thank you for the great question, Aslo. And I have to say, Andrew, it's very refreshing to hear that take on DAOs, as there are a lot of people in this space who are almost like plugging their ears kind of to the reality of how DAOs are right now in their infancy. They are very promising in the future, but as it stands now, it's kind of like you described, almost like a college project where the few are doing the work for the many. And hopefully we can kind of see a future where the DAOs that people envisioned in the beginning kind of come to fruition.
Yeah, I think that one of the things is really what you have at stake. You know, like if it's like my family's well-being at stake, then all of a sudden I'll like home in. But then if it's just something where it's like, yeah, like someone make a decision. If they make a decision I don't care that much about, then it'll be fine. So I think that's one reason why something like liquid democracy makes so much sense, where I take the issues that I care about deeply and maybe I pay attention, but then other things I'll be like, look, like I'm going to trust you to be my proxy for it, because we have limited bandwidth, and most people can only invest in like a few big decisions, in this kind of context.
Absolutely, absolutely. So next question we want to take was from Matt.
Hey, Andrew and team. Congratulations on the GoldenDAO. It sounds like a really needed project that holds, excellent potential to make a real positive difference. I wanted to ask you what your thoughts are on DAOs as a path to kind of evolving participatory media. So I work in media, run a news site, and looking kind of at the current models for media, they're not super bright, and DAOs, at least from my perspective, look like they could be a potential new path. But would really be interested on your take as it relates to that.
Oh, it looks like Andrew might have been rugged by Twitter. Let me see if I can get him back up.
In the meantime, Jack, Theo, any insights there?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? Andrew is on. I think he's.
Yeah, I'm trying to invite Andrew back up. Andrew, if you're listening, maybe leave the spaces and come back in and request, and I'll bring you back up.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Dang, did I break Twitter Spaces for you guys? I'm really sorry.
Bro, you done broke the blockchain. You done broke the Twitter Spaces. You're a real Ty Lopez up in here. Yeah, I get. Can you repeat the question for Jack and Theo?
Yeah, yes. So, I come from a media background. I run a news website, and we're thinking really hard about, you look out across the landscape of like how you fund, media and community reporting right now, and there's not a whole lot of bright spots there, right? Like digital advertising is just not viable, and you're only going to have so many folks that are going to kind of subscribe with a recurrent subscription. And it does seem that like DAOs could potentially offer an interesting new way of funding media. And I'm just incredibly curious as to how other folks are thinking about that.
Yeah, that's a really, really great question. This is Theo, co-founder of GoldenDAO. I actually worked in advertising at Google for 5 years, and I can speak directly upon that. I think DAOs are a really, really great way to fund and activate media in ways that we haven't before. Just if you think about the platform.
I'm sorry, man. I'm not hearing you. Can other folks hear him?
It's breaking up for us as well.
Yeah, Theo, I think you're rugging.
Sorry, can you hear me?
We can hear you now, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to say I've been at Google for the past 5 years, working in advertising very tightly with different ad agencies. So to your question, alluded to different parts of the ways that we can activate media in DAO, correct? I think one of the best ways we can do that is creating a platform of like-minded individuals who come together in solidarity, right? Where you kind of activate this community in ways that you weren't able to before. I think, given Andrew's platform as a contributor on CNN prior, and his connections in the space are really important. I think digital ownership is something that's very, very important as well. Like if you think about it as a user and a brand or even a content creator, as it stands right now, most of the businesses profit off user data. I think having progressive decentralization in a DAO structure would be very, very helpful to making sure that users have their own data and are funded appropriately. If you think about the NFT space, we can actually do that directly, right? If you think about how a DAO can come together and activate that in ways that we haven't before, something really, really important in my eyes.
I think that's really smart. I mean, do you see the value of media companies being reduced because you would be able to, either through a DAO or through some other sort of like collective, have individual, content news creators come together and produce content together without the need for this centralized curation body, right? Which, like, one of the main jobs of, you think about the jobs to be done perspective, right? Is like providing capital, providing audience, and providing stability. Do those things just kind of start to melt away when creators can just autonomously work together?
Yeah, that's a really great point, and I think a lot of the media today is very polarizing, right? If you think about just the culture of media, and if you think about the hubs of media, where you have kind of the big left and the big right, and they kind of control the narrative in different ways. I think, even with what's going on in Ukraine right now, this is the first time in human history where we can see firsthand, because of social media, what's exactly going on, right? We have a lot of people on the floor there posting on Instagram, posting on TikTok. So we have direct access to so many different things at so many different times. I think having that journalism that you were alluding to is something that could be very, very powerful, and DAOs can help activate that in a way where a media platform wouldn't be able to before. Because again, decisions, if you think about corporations and decisions being made at the top, they're very, very controlled, and they might have biases. They might have specific decisions and relationships that they don't want to ruin in place. When you give the power back to the hands of the people, you have a more, I guess, seamless and collaborative way of viewing media and having media in a DAO structure.
Yeah, really smart. I appreciate your insight. Thank you.
Thanks for coming up to speak, Matt. We're trying to recover Andrew. At the moment, Twitter is a full-on rug. I think Will Smith's slap has reverberated even the servers that host Twitter's software. We've got Remixer Phi. Jacob, hello, welcome to our Twitter Spaces.
Seinfeld, thanks for having me. How's it going, everybody?
Hey, welcome.
I don't know if I can. My connection's been pretty spotty this whole time, so I don't know if I. Can you hear me?
You sound smooth.
Hey guys, sorry, I think I might be back.
Hey, let's go, Andrew.
Let's go, unrugged. Perfect timing, Andrew. We've got another speaker up. It goes by the name Jacob. You got a smooth, silky voice. Jacob, what's going on?
Nothing. I just came in to say hello. The other night, I had a very productive dinner with some of the folks that are members of the GoldenDAO Discord. We all went to dim sum at a local restaurant called Buddha Bodai, and it was really great just to be able to. Oh, I think we lost Andrew again. It was just, I just wanted to commend Jack and the team because it was great to not only, also I see John in the audience, John Zhu, who met that night. Great guy. But it was just great to even though we were talking about how even though tech is typically seen as this like Asian dominated space, you know, being in the Web3 space, I feel like I don't really see many people that look like me, and it was cool to be able to organize and talk about, just be able to relate with people and have this common ground to start just connecting with people, like just at the baseline, like be able to have a community of people who have gone through similar experiences in life and be able to get to know others like myself. And it's really cool that GoldenDAO exists, and I'm super excited to see this grow.
Love those kind words, Jacob. It's nice to see that GoldenDAO, even before launch, has already been able to build or help foster the community even further. We do want to be mindful of the team's time, so we're going to be taking one last question from another MVHQ member, Moody. Moody, you there, bro?
Yo, what's up?
How's it going, brother? How you been?
Yo, dude, I'm doing good. Been a long day, but it was great hearing you guys speak today, Jack. And then the MVHQ team as well. Great hearing all these stories. Is Andrew here or is he still gone?
Yeah, Twitter's just been rugging him the past 10 minutes.
Okay, I guess like my question was like more, I guess in general for the GoldenDAO, so Andrew doesn't have to specifically answer, but I was kind of curious, right? Like, we're seeing like a lot of like of these NFT projects like really come up, and they kind of have like this very like homogenous like roadmap. All of them tend to have the same ones, but I kind of been like going towards these other newer projects that that have like they kind of like follow the start model where they kind of see a problem and then their NFTs kind of go for the solution. So I'm wondering if maybe GoldenDAO is going towards the same, maybe the same type of role, and like maybe what type of societal problem then GoldenDAO is trying to fix or trying to come up a solution for, or if they see a hole in the NFT Web3 world that they're trying to really fill up.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's challenging because a lot of people view us like, MVHQ. You mentioned that you only invested in one DAO project. Most DAOs typically have, from what we've researched, 90 to 95% of take the creator fees, NFT projects. Or in this situation, where a DAO, we do have core pillars and different values of what we stand for, right? Like stopping Asian injustices towards the community, demystifying Asian mental health, elevating creators, builders, artists, entrepreneurs, and activists, and having allyship and advocacy, civic community outreach. Jack activated over 10,000 people in person, record-breaking stuff last year, just by himself, money out of his own pocket with no organization associated. So there's a lot of different things that we want to address. But the beauty of a DAO structure is that the community votes on it. So if they want more collaborative environments where people and members can meet up, to case in point like dim sum or something along those lines, we'll do that. But if there's something that's recent times, obviously a lot of terrible things have been happening in our community. I think having this level of solidarity and empowerment and platform, we can really come together and make our voices heard. I think the Asian community has been marginalized and swept under the rug in a lot of these many cases. So I think it's really important that we do speak up and activate a DAO community to kind of fund ways to help elevate us as a whole holistically here in America.
Hey all, I think I'm back. I don't know if you can hear me. Twitter Space.
Yeah, Andrew, we can hear you.
Yeah,
it's great to hear you.
But I'm glad that you got to spend time with Theo and Jack, because you can see how strong and passionate they are. This is something that is bigger than any of us. I hope people have a sense of that.
Yeah, no, I kind of got the sense of the answer, but you might have a different way or a different perspective to my question.
Oh yeah, slightly maybe. If I heard your question. So one of the things that's happened to me a number of times in my career is you get someplace and you're like, oh, that should exist. Maybe you all have had that feeling. When I was thinking about running for president, I went to my friends in Silicon Valley. I was like, hey guys, someone needs to run for president on universal basic income and automation, and the fact that AI is going to come and change everything. And then people looked around and were like, yeah, I agree with you, Andrew. And I was like, so anyone to do this thing? And then they were like, no. And then I was like, all right, I guess I'll do it. So should there be DAO for Asian empowerment? Should there be a Web3 collective trying to organize and catalyze various activities in the space? I think anyone looking at this would be like, oh yeah, that should exist. You might even be surprised that it doesn't exist. You're like, there are so many folks in Web3 who care about these issues or Asian themselves. Why doesn't this exist? And so that's, I think, the attitude that, or the need that we saw is that.
Oh no.
Don't tell me you got rugged again.
Moody, you still there, brother?
Yeah, I'm there. But I can't hear him.
Yeah.
I think you got rugged again.
You got rugged again. Andrew Yang. You hate to see
Twitter
it. Sorry.
does not like him.
No, they're being partial today. Wiki, sorry about that. I was really excited to have you come and ask Andrew Yang, not Wang, a question. Did you want to ask your question to the GoldenDAO team instead?
Oh, wait, can I just say thanks everyone, thanks GoldenDAO team, and hopefully I DM'd, I think me and Jack are talking, so yeah, dude, Jack, let's set up that collab for Rice and GoldenDAO. But yeah, let's do it.
Let's go. Yeah, sorry about that, Moody. Yeah, really excited for Rice Day, by the way. This is going to be an absolute cook, no pun intended. I've been staring at the website, bro. White Rice, you're speaking to me. Really excited for that project. I really do hope that you guys can partner in any capacity. You guys have been building hype up. We've got Wiki up. We'll have Wiki.
I really would like to ask a question, but I think it's
Sure.
I think Web 3.0 and this is all just a little bit out of my wheelhouse, and my question was addressed for Andrew. So
let's see if we can get Andrew back up. We're inviting him to speak now. I know you've been waiting patiently, bro, so definitely want to get your question heard. But yeah, in the meantime, Andrew Yang's just getting rugged.
He's just getting rugged.
In the meantime, we do have some Asian representation lined up for tomorrow. We've got Karafuru, Jijiao, and team for Twitter Spaces. So stay tuned for that. Stick around. That should be around 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. They are definitely a team that y'all should be talking with as well, based out of the Indo scene of NFTs. Have you guys spoken with them yet, Jack? Callista?
No, we haven't spoken to them yet, but we would definitely love to.
Yeah. Well, we'll be happy to make the connection. There's a ton of Asian representation in NFTs in other parts of the world. We've got the boys from the other side, based out of Singapore. Basically, the OpenDAO. Everyone there is from Southeast Asia, or at least the core contributors of that. So definitely want to make sure that the GoldenDAO has solid representation across the board. We do have Andrew back. Andrew, are you officially unrugged for a little bit?
I'm back. If you can hear me, I'm back. But who can know?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, bro.
Beautiful. We have Wiki. He's been really excited to ask you a question. He's been waiting all spaces, so we're gonna cap it off right here. Wiki, feel free.
hey Andrew, how's it going? It's actually our 4th time meeting. Probably you don't remember, but I was in Iowa volunteering, boots on the ground for your campaign the first time. I was on real early with your couldn't quite make it out to New York or do any of that, but It's great being able to
Ricky,
talk to you.
Iowa was magical. Appreciate the heck out of you. Just followed you back. Sorry it took me so long.
Hey, we changed the world. Like, it's already clear, right? So yeah, my question though was just about there's an issue that we're both passionate about, which is universal basic income. How do you see in a larger scale, like crypto or Web 3.0 or anything on the blockchain integrating with the potential of a universal basic income?
Oh my gosh, Wiki, I'm so glad you asked. So here's the story. I think that we should be alleviating poverty at a mass scale. I think poverty is stupid. There might have been a point in the past when there wasn't enough stuff to go around, or resource to go around. That point in history has passed in a rearview mirror, but we still act like we're operating in an environment of scarcity instead of abundance. So if you take those as the premises, then how are we going to get to a point where we do start alleviating poverty at scale? Number one is via the U.S. government, via the U.S. dollar, which I ran for president on and am still working on. We still have a multi-million-dollar lobbying organization in D.C. making the case for anti-poverty measures. So that's still on. But then the major other alternative is to alleviate poverty through currencies that are not fiat, that are not USD, that you've had trillions of dollars get generated and created via cryptocurrencies over the last number of years. Can we start using some of these new tools to alleviate poverty in various communities? I'm going to argue that we should, and we should do so immediately. Some of you might be aware that I'm working with various firms to make the case for an improved political atmosphere and regulatory approach towards crypto for the same reasons. GoldenDAO, I see, is actually, believe it or not, aligned with this goal, which is to activate a ton of energy around helping empower the Asian American and global Asian community. Because I think that if we can demonstrate that these tools and this community can solve real problems in different ways, then that will actually help improve the environment and broaden people's sense of what can be done with Web3 tools. So believe it or not, Wiki, like I think everything's like I'm still just trying to fight poverty. Like fight poverty of the spirit, fight poverty of the mind, and everything I do is with that big picture goal in mind. Though like I'm super proud of what GoldenDAO is going to do directly, but I think it's still building in the same direction.
Mindset of abundance, right?
Yeah, right. The freaking boot off of people's throats, and that's one thing I love about the crypto community is most people here have a sense of abundance and possibility and optimism about the future, and most other people don't. And so, what do we do? Well, we have to keep expanding the community so that and that we can get the boot off of more and more people's throats.
All right, love that. Thank you for coming on, Wiki, and happy to see Andrew. You got so many people that, you've made an impact on, so much so that they're still following your work. They're still engaging with you to this day, years after the fact. That must be an incredible feeling, I'm sure. I want to close it off here and make sure we're respectful of everyone's time. Just to recap, we have partnered with the GoldenDAO as Metaverse HQ, a community of NFT lovers, enthusiasts, investors. We really align with GoldenDAO's vision, with the core team. They're all incredibly doxed. You guys can do the Googling, the research yourself. There's a million other questions that we had prepared that we easily could ask, but we wanted to make it clear and concise just for time's sake. We do the information with regard to the mint. If you are interested in participating in GoldenDAO, you will have approximately 3 days, 13 hours, and X amount. Go check out their website. There will be an upcoming public sale, a public mint It's a Dutch auction, start at, I believe, 1.2, somewhere around that, should end around 0.88 for 888 total supply from the public, and pre-sale should be around 888, minting at 0.8 Ethereum. So I want to make sure we have the logistics correct there, and I'm excited to both potentially see you guys at the launch party, and also host you, your team, for our own Metaverse HQ party here in LA, actually specifically Hollywood, after. So we could be the after party, Andrew and team, if y'all are interested. We'll have a
I
special
love it. Well, you know, we're gonna bring the party to you, and then the after party will be bigger and better. But yeah, we'll see you in LA. Pumped to collaborate with you and to build awesome communities together. Let's change the world.
Likewise, brother. This is the start of many conversations. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in, sharing your Sundays with us, as opposed to watching Will Smith slap the living shit out of Chris Rock. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, really much appreciated for your time and excited for the future of GoldenDAO. Cheers and good luck to the team. Thank you so much for coming on.
See you all soon. Some of you in LA. Bye, everybody.
Cheers. Ciao, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.